Are you stressed out that your loved one with dementia is not eating well and is losing weight? In this video, you will learn why dementia changes taste and smell and how that can make eating a challenge. And stick around because I have 3 practical ways that you can improve meal times to make sure that your loved one is getting the food that they need. I'm also really excited to share with you that I've just developed a course called Managing Meals and Eating Challenges, where I cover issues related to all the sensory changes that happen in moderate to late stage dementia. And you can find the course at melissabphd.com/courses. Welcome back to all of my subscribers, particularly my YouTube and HYSU members. We've built a great community over the past 4 years of the podcast, and if you'd like to join me for our future podcast recording, stay tuned to the end to find out how you can join me for those live weekly events. If you're new to this channel, though, welcome to This is Getting Old, Moving Towards an Age-Friendly World. I'm Dr. Melissa Batchelor, and I'm a nurse and a nurse practitioner with nearly 30 years of experience caring for older adults and their families. I've been in nursing education since 2005. When I started my PhD in 2007, though, I needed a topic that I would be interested in doing research on for the rest of my career. So I decided that I'd love to take care of older adults living with dementia, and I really love to eat. So the reason I wanted to focus on this topic today is because I wanted to share how Alzheimer's disease and other dementias change how a person smells and tastes things. And this is just one of the sensory changes that happen with this disease. All 5 of our senses are changed as dementia progresses. This video will only focus on taste and smell, but there are other videos on the other senses right here on my YouTube channel. Also, if you'd like to learn more, you can check out the course, Managing Meals and Eating Challenges at melissabphd.com/courses. So before we get into it, if you're helping a person living with dementia to eat more, what is the biggest challenge for you right now? Leave me a comment below and I will be checking those and try to help find additional resources for you. So now we're going to dive into today's video focused on dementia care and how changes in taste and smell impact eating. When a person with dementia loses their sense of smell, they could be at risk for things that we take for granted. Like they might not notice that there's a fire, or they won't be able to tell if food has gone bad. So this not only impacts their safety, but also what they will eat. Foods that they used to love just don't taste right anymore, and this can lead to a loss of interest in eating, which is concerning because that can lead to weight loss and malnutrition over time. So first, let's talk about why taste and smell change in dementia. The sense of smell is impacted in dementia because the way this disease damages parts of the brain that are really critical for processing sense. The 2 major factors that contribute to this in Alzheimer's disease are, number 1, brain cell damage. So this is, dementia involves the death of brain cells, particularly in regions associated with memory, sensory processing, and emotions. And the olfactory bulb, which is the part of the brain that processes smell, and the hippocampus, which is involved in memory and is often linked to smell perception. These are some of the first areas affected by Alzheimer's disease. So this is why changes in your sense of smell are often an early indicator that there might be something going on that you need to have checked out. Because when these areas are damaged, the ability to detect and identify smells declines. The second reason is protein buildup. So abnormal proteins like amyloid plaques and tau tangles, they accumulate in the brain and they interfere with normal cell function. These proteins disrupt communication between the brain cells and they impair neural pathways, which is how the messages in the brain get back and forth. And that decreases the ability of the person to process smell. When taste and smell change, meal times can become a struggle. So you might notice that your loved one will not eat foods that they used to love. They might crave sweet foods more than anything else, and they may get frustrated or distracted during meals, which can in turn make you, as a caregiver, feel stressed and worried. But don't worry, here are the 3 simple strategies that will help you to make eating more enjoyable for both of you. The first is boosting taste. These first 2 actually have to do with taste, temperature, and texture. So for boosting taste, you want to add additional herbs, spices, salt, or sugar because plain foods might not be that appealing anymore. So if you can just add a little zing, but without overwhelming the food, just start with natural flavor boosters like garlic, ginger, lemon juice, any spices that the person might have typically liked before. You might need to just add a little bit more. but also things like cinnamon, vanilla, or nutmeg might help to sweeten the dish. In very advanced dementia, the one taste that is preserved for most people is the ability to taste sweet food. And so this is why people will eat ice cream and they'll eat applesauce. And so if we know this, and that seems to be what the person's responding to, you can just add sugar or a sugar substitute if they're diabetic to their food. And so this might be a strategy that works. At the end of the day, my philosophy is that if a person with advanced dementia will eat real food with a little bit of sugar on it, instead of struggling to eat a bunch of snacks or nutritional supplements, I'd rather just put a little bit of sugar on their food so that they will eat. If there have been any dietary restrictions, typically as people get into the kind of late stage of dementia, we typically do what's called liberating the diet, which means we don't worry about making sure that we have a no added salt, no concentrated sweet type of diet. It's whatever we need to do to get that person to eat. So if the ability to taste sweet food is preserved, we want to go with that. And you might need to talk to their medical team if they are a diabetic, just to make sure that the medications can be adjusted and that you're being consistent in the amount of sugar that you're putting on their food. So work with your healthcare provider team um, if your loved one also has dementia, has diabetes. Secondly, we're going to focus on texture and temperature because sometimes how the food feels in the person's mouth or the temperature can make a big difference. So making sure that we're offering warm, comforting soups or stews if chewing is difficult. Or they might like a crunchy snack like carrots or crackers. It just depends on other things that might be going on with them. My grandmother had Alzheimer's disease and she didn't have any teeth, so we had to serve her foods that were more mechanical soft, meaning that we'd already pre-cut the food. But give that woman a chicken leg from Kentucky Fried Chicken, and she could take care of it, teeth or not. So again, you just have to experiment to see what your loved one likes and enjoys the most, whether it's salty or sweet, whether it's soft or crunchy. And again, it just depends on what else is going on with the person. And then the last tip is to make meals visually appealing because our brains, kind of eat with our eyes first. Typically, if we see food, we eat food. So using colorful fruits and vegetables can make the plate look more appealing. And even if taste and smell aren't as strong, a plate that looks pretty might spark their interest in the food. And then a bonus tip here is to be sure that you're serving smaller portions on a smaller plate. In fact, blue plates are supposed to stimulate appetite as well. And to make sure there's enough contrast so that the person can see the food. For example, if you have white potatoes on a white plate, it might be harder for that person to see. So if you're using a blue plate, then you can see the white mashed potatoes. But when we serve smaller portions on a smaller plate, that can be less overwhelming and can actually encourage them to eat more food. So there you have it. Helping your loved one to eat well despite changes in taste and smell really is about creativity, patience, and just experimenting with what they will do. So to recap, the 3 strategies were boost taste with natural flavors like herbs, spices, even salt and sugar. Secondly, experiment with textures and temperatures. And thirdly, to make meals visually appealing. And most importantly, don't get discouraged because every small step is a step towards being successful. And a lot of times when we're caring for someone living with Alzheimer's disease, it is trial and error. So, and what works today might not work tomorrow, and what worked at breakfast might not work at lunch. So just being sure that you have kind of the go-to foods that the person will eat, and it's really going to be the most helpful thing to do. It's kind of like when I had kids, we would have food that the adults would eat, and then there were foods that the kids would eat that the adults wouldn't. So again, doesn't really change. So if you found today's episode helpful, don't forget to subscribe, share it with someone else that might find it helpful, and leave a comment for me. You can also check out HYU. This is my membership library for caregivers like you at melissabphd.com. It's packed with resources that can help make your journey smoother, and it's organized so by early, middle, late stage, so to help you find the content and information you're looking for much easier and quicker. So if meal times for your loved one are feeling more like a challenge than a chance to connect, I just wanted to mention again, this online course, Managing Meals and Eating Challenges, is specifically designed not only for family caregivers, but also professional caregivers. And it's a practical course that's filled with expert strategies, a lot of video demonstrations, skills checklists that you can start using immediately. And if you want to make meal times easier and more enjoyable, just go to melissabphd.com/courses and look for the course titled Managing Meals and Eating Challenges today. So thank you so much for joining me. If you'd like to be a part of my community and continue to learn more about aging, age-friendly initiatives, and Alzheimer's disease, don't forget to drop by my website and grab your free podcast insider guide. You can also join the podcast private community on Facebook, and all podcast insiders and HYSU members are invited by email each week to join me for the live podcast recordings. And I do that in Zoom and just stream it live to the Facebook group. So I hope you will stop by to grab your free guide and then keep an eye on your inbox so that you can join me for these weekly insider only events. And again, if you found value in this episode, please hit the like button, share it with someone else that might find it helpful, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and then turn on your notifications so that you're alerted when the next episode comes out, which is every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Until next time, be well.